This is going to be about recreating a cover from start to finish, just to show you guys kind of how we recreate some of these looks, going from a design that's already printed to recreating it in our design. So first I've chosen a cover. I picked this one because it has a little bit of layering to it, but it's pretty simple and there's no reason why you couldn't have a design that's similar to this. So I have it here, and then I have my InDesign file here. So I'm going to shrink my InDesign file down a little bit so I can see both at the same time. First, I noticed that my image has a gray background, so I'm going to go ahead and recreate that on my paper by putting a gray rectangle in the very back of my design. And I always bleed it just a little bit over the edge when I want it to cover the entirety of the page. I'm going to hit the V key on my keyboard, which will bring me back to my black cursor, and then I'm going to find my fill color, which we know it's the fill color because if we hover on it, it says fill. I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to go ahead and double click this blue color so I can make some changes to it to make it that gray shade. So gray is actually kind of hard to get because I think you need equal color of every single one of these. So, and that's kind of dark, so let's maybe do like 25, 20. Still too dark. Okay, let's go lighter than that. 6, 6, 6, 6. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, and now I have my background color. Another option you have that's kind of cool is I can come in here and I can take this. No, it's not going to let me do that. I can go to my desktop. Let's see, where is it? There he is. And I can drag and drop this in here, and don't do this unless you're doing it exactly the way I'm showing you right now. Just for the purpose of matching colors, I can do that, but I can't do that normally. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay, so one option I have is with this image in here, I can go to my left-hand side and find the color theme tool. If you can't find it, it might look like one of these, and you just have to hold down your mouse on it and then click it. So I find my color theme tool, and I come over to this image, and I can pull my color theme directly from this, and I can just click this to add it to my swatches. Once I've done that, I hit V to go back to my cursor, and then I'm going to hit the delete key to get rid of that image that I put in there. But I do want this one still pulled up. Just keep it small in the corner. It won't go small. Okay, so I come back into here, and now I have a new color theme, and I can select that gray, and so this is the exact same color as that gray. Kind of interesting. So that's in there, and I have a background. The next thing I notice is this really large headline. So I'm going to go ahead and create a text box for my the. I'm going to hit my T tool to select it. I'm going to come in and write the, Command A, and I'm going to find a font that looks similar to that. It's kind of got little swishies at the end. I want to be super crazy, and I kind of want to be super crazy about this. I'm going to look up what font does the Atlantic use. Not so sure we'll be able to find that, but we can try. That's not going to work. This one should work for us. Oh, it's still $29. So we're not going to be able to find one that looks exactly like this. So I'm going to have to do something else. Let's see. This one's it's got a little bit of that flourish to it. We'll go ahead and stick with this for now. So Mark Sands, I'm going to go ahead and raise that size. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it to the yellow shade that I created in my color theme. Alright, that's not really fancy enough. I need it bolder than that. So I'm going to come back in and choose a different font. And this is just part of playing around with it until you get it to look like something that you like. Alright, so I like this one here, but it doesn't come in an italic, so I'm going to have to force italic it by hitting this key here. I just want a slight italic to it. And it's all set. Alright, so there's my the ready for me. And then I want to add the Atlantic part back in, so I'm going to click this one time, hold the Alt key, and then create a larger text box for this. And double click in there, hit Command A again, I'm just going to raise the size. Atlantic is obviously much, much larger than the is on the cover. That's our inspiration. Alright, I'm just going to play with some of these metrics here. Trying to create a look that's more like what's on that cover. I know we're not going to get exactly right because we can't get that font without paying money for it. Alright, I'm going to put it there. I'm going to go ahead and move this guy over. And I think that's about as good as we're going to get. I think my background looks a little bit darker, so I'm going to come up here to my gray. I'm going to go to this little tint area. I'm going to bring it down a little bit. And I'm going to come in here to this yellow. And I'm just going to lighten it a little bit so it's a little brighter. Let's see. Let's go back. I really want it to have a lot more yellow to it. There we go. Yeah, that looks better. And now I have a headline. And I'm going to need to do a little bit of adjustments to this because I can tell I have to put text above where it says Atlantic, and I can't do that right now. So I'm just going to move it around and adjust it a little bit to get that ready for that. The next thing I want to do is find my skateboarder. So I'm going to go to Google Chrome. I'm going to search skateboarder PNG. Don't think I'm going to find this awesome guy skateboarding, but I can find something similar. Let's see. This guy looks cool. Weird hairs. And it's not a PNG file because it does not have that checkered background, so I can't use that one. I'm going to come in again. This guy's really blurry. Oh, wow. Let's find something that looks half normal. Alright, half normal. So I'm going to view image. Zoom in, control click, save image as, and I'm going to find that magazine project folder. If it's not already open, I navigate to it from the desktop, and I'll say cover image skate. Save. Come back in here, and I'm going to go ahead and draw the space for my image to go, and hit Command D and find my image. Alright, he's too big right now, so I'm going to come back to my cursor tool or hit the V key to bring my cursor tool back. I'm going to hit this circle right here, and I'm going to hold down Shift and bring him in so he's not quite so big. I'm cutting him off a little bit. And now I have my skateboarder. He's not exactly how I want him to look. This is something that you guys probably don't have to do with all your stuff, but I'm going to open him up in Photoshop. I'm just going to make some minor adjustments just to make him stand out a little better. So I'm going to increase my darks, increase my whites. I'm going to come in my saturation, and I'm just going to increase the general saturation of it. Just because that original one had a lot of saturation to it, and it's part of what made it look so cool. And I'm going to hit save. He's saved. If I come back in here, it just takes a second and he'll update. Alrighty. We're on our way to having a cover. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is create this new science of old age text. Get my T tool, hit it. Old age, Command A, I'll bring it up to like 80. I know that I have a font that will work for this. Baby New, bold. I'm going to bring down that line size so they're closer together like it is in the example. And I'm also going to center it because it's centered in the example. Alright, I'm sorry guys, it's going to get loud here for a second because the bells are going to ring. You can see there's barely any space between each of these lines, and so I want to recreate that. So Command A, bringing down the space in between each. I do want it to be a little bigger. Got to increase again. Come back to my cursor tool, and then to turn it like that, I'm just going to go to the edge and find where it makes this little like turny symbol, and then adjust my text from here. Right, and I can just play with that layering like they did on theirs, and adjust back and forth with my angles. In my original too, I can see that there's a slight drop shadow here that we're not having. So I actually have an option on this. I can hit Control, click, find my effects, and create a drop shadow. And that drop shadow is very subtle, and it's kind of actually far away from it. So let's bring it down to 20%. We definitely want to preview it as we're going here. Let's see. Just kind of messing with the settings here, trying to get something that's going to be more like the original. Which none of these are looking anything like that. Let's see. I think I just made it worse. I'm going to hit cancel. Come back to it again. Control click, effects, drop shadow. Coming at it from the top. And we're going to do like 15%. And just to give it some more of that natural pop to it. Okay, and now we have a little bit of drop shadow here, so it looks a little more natural on the page. We have a couple other little things we need to do. We have this, our actual edition for this, which is October 2014, and they have the website. So we can recreate that by coming down here, hitting W so I can see my margin, and I can create that. This margin's a little thick, but I can adjust that in a second. Coming back in, October 2014, they have it in all caps, so I can hit Command A, hit the all caps button, and then theatlantic.com. Okay, this we want to make sure we're matching the font we use in the headline. So here we use Day Roman, here we need to make sure we're also using Day Roman. Remember, you never want to have more than 3 fonts on anything. Still a little big. Let's bring it down. It's very tiny on that other one. It also has a lot of space between each line, so I'm going to increase my space between each line. And then I'm just going to make some adjustments so that way it's really more in that corner region. Like that. And then I have this other text to do. I'm going to start with this top section just because I feel like there's a little bit for me to teach you there. So first, I'm going to come in and I'm going to create my first box. So inside a prison run by gangs. Interesting article. My text tool, coming into my box and typing it out. Oh, I got caps lock. Inside a prison run by gangs. Command A. I'm going to turn that into the Baby New book. Unfortunately, that one does not have a lowercase, but I do know of one that's bold that does. It's called Oswald. So I'm going to do the Oswald demi bold. Bring this up. And then just once again messing with the settings so it looks more like the actual sizing of the original. Okay, I think that it looks to me like they really shrunk down the space between each of these. Yeah, so it's more like that. And then they almost stretched it. That could be the font size. Okay. So we have our little article title here. And then you'll notice that they have these little white lines. So I can come and find my line. I usually run it against something, so I'm going to run it against this text box. And then when I come up here, I'm just going to choose the color of it, so it's going to be white. Actually, that's fill color. I'm going to go to here, white. And then I can turn it up to more than 1 point if I want to, so I can go to like 2 points. And then I'm going to want to adjust where it actually lays. So I'm going to put it there. And now I have a line just like they have. They also have a page number with it, so I want to do that too. So I'm going to move that over just a little bit so I have more space for that page number. It's very small and it's white. So once again, using that hierarchy, let's say 46. Okay, making sure we're once again just using the same fonts, stay Roman. I'm going to pop that into white. And we're going to carry that here. I'm going to bring that font size down. Let's move it to like a 9, nice and petite. Alright, and we're looking pretty close to the original here. So I can click this one, I can hold down the the shift key, select the other 3 boxes, and then holding down the alt key, I can just move this over to create the section again. So on here, this one's a lot smaller. It's even a smaller font here. You can see that the letters are definitely smaller on that one than they are on the one next to it. So I'm going to bring this one down so it's a little smaller. It's also a shorter box, I'm assuming to kind of accommodate that eye. And our eye is not falling in the exact same place because of course we're not the same font. Bringing these line speeds to each other. Okay. And then using that shift key again to select multiple items. Bringing it over. And see, it's not really that crazy, guys. Change it. Alright. Just for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and just copy these 2 over so we can save some time, even though the text won't be matching up perfectly. They kind of saddle it a little differently, and if I had more time, I would go ahead and change it so it's not laying on the eye. But we're going to go ahead and just leave it as is. Command 0, so we can see our full page right now, and it's looking very magazine-y. So that's the right thing we're trying to do here. I can also just copy one of these again to recreate this right-hand side. So I do want it to fit inside my margin. Some of the things that are happening here, these are all justified to the right. So I want to double click in here, Command A, find my paragraph symbol, find my right hand side alignment, and now it's aligned to the right. Also, it's doing this weird hyphenation thing, which we don't want it to be doing. So it's hard because it doesn't show up unless you have full menu. Open it big. I don't want to hyphenate it, so I click that little tool there. And you'll notice that they say, like, okay, Bill Clinton, life after. Okay, so there's 2 different sizes happening here. So the way I would do this is I would create this, get it kind of nice and tight in the box. I would alt it to create my bottom one because those are the same one, same size, the White House. And then I would alt it again, bring it to the center here, type that out, and maybe B4, Command A, to the top. We're going to bring that down because it is smaller. Alright, and by moving them into different lines, I can now kind of deal with the spacing a little bit more naturally. Alright, remember to hit that W key to move it in between print and design view. We want to make sure we're lining up our text properly on that margin line. And that looks pretty good. I can see that they have a little white page number again, so I can go ahead and bring that in. I'm really loving how simple that is with the design. It's like you can know the page number if I want to read more, but it's not, you know, trying to distract from everything else on the page. I'm not going to finish the rest of this because this is a lot of just repeating myself over and over again. To create that plus sign, I would go ahead and just take another one of these, Alt, come in here, make a plus sign, Command A, make it larger. This is a nice thin one, so I would want to choose a font that was thinner, so we could try Dave Roman, but honestly, the probably isn't gonna, no, it's fine. And then I come back to the T tool, readjust it, and make it that yellow shade that I've been using for everything else, which is a nice complement to that yellow up here. So that would be another thing that I would have to add in. And that is how we recreate a cover. And hope I answered some questions.